Jacob, appreciate you for taking the time to make your way out here and do this interview with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I wanted to start in your background. I know you grew up playing baseball and hockey, but what led you to those two sports?
My dad's from Victoria, British Columbia, and he learned how to skate as soon as he learned how to pretty much walk. So that was pretty much my upbringing, and so I learned how to skate when I was 3 and have played hockey ever since. Baseball, I started when I was 8, and there was a field up the street from my house. And my dad's parents were very much so of like, you do everything until it's done, and you don't spend very much time sitting around doing nothing. And so we spent every waking second either on the baseball field, at the hockey rink, training to some certain extent, whether it was with a football or baseball or a golf ball or whatever you name it, we were doing it. And hockey and baseball were those two things that super stuck out, and I grew up playing and have always played since. So yeah, those two were my roots.
Sounds like you played a lot of sports growing up. What stood out about baseball and hockey in particular?
Hockey, so have you ever been to a hockey game?
I have, yes.
What excites you the most?
Probably when a goal is scored, the roar of the crowd, the horn that a lot of arenas play. I've gone to a few Ducks games, but Sharks games as well when I lived in Sacramento.
Okay.
So I had to experience both the NorCal experience and the SoCal experience.
Yeah, so the action of it and the speed and everything that entails with that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play in front of too many crowds. However, just the action, the team bonding, team building, team playmaking, that was what stood out to me the most playing hockey. It was like everybody's got their own tools and how you can put them all together and, good for the common good and the common goal. Obviously trying to win more than you don't, but I mean, that was something that stuck out, and it was like, everybody's got their ups and their downs of like, okay, how do we utilize our ups the best? Both with hockey players, left-handed, right-handed, using that to the best of your ability is like, okay, say for example, there's 8 lefties, 8 righties, you want to match them up, and like with baseball, it's like, all the pieces are for a specific spot. And so what stuck out the most playing hockey was like just kind of, it was a very gritty, like you learn a lot about yourself growing up of like, you do like thousands of push-ups without really even realizing it. Bring Sally Up, Bring Sally Down was probably one of our core exercises, core push-up songs. And that was our running song. So it was like sprints or push-ups, holding it, that sort of thing of like the internal builder of like, okay, I'm doing this because it's going to help me. It's going to help the rest of us.
Gotcha.
So growing up playing hockey, it was an experience like no other. Like I got to travel places that I don't know if I'll ever go to again, which I hope that's not the case. But I mean, it was really cool of like seeing, okay, this is what Chicago looks like. This is what upstate New York, like Buffalo, Ottawa, Philadelphia. Like for example, those places were super cool to see. And it was like, okay, now I'm learning about myself. I'm like, okay, how well traveled can someone be? Of like, when they're 12, 15, however much. How much they're traveling, and so how can how does that all kind of go into like in your college experience of like, okay, we're going to the airport as a team, what does that look like? And you learn it as a young age. It was really cool to like be able to utilize it. I was like, okay, I did this with my dad, and now I'm 22 years old, or at least from when I was 18 to 22, traveling with my team. It was such an awesome experience.
And what about baseball? What stood out from the times that you played baseball growing up?
I always had the stick tool, so I'd always hit. That was my number one tool. I always had a good arm too, so it was like those two things. And I've always been, hey, your parents have good size, you're bound to have good size. So it was like that was really always really cool to hear. And it was like, okay, now I have the backbones of like, this is what your future could hold. Literally just stay in the gym, stay active, and keep getting stronger, keep getting faster, and everything like that. Because balls go far, and balls, come off hard. And it was super cool to like know that people on the outside only see me play once or twice, and they were kind of saying, okay, this is what I see, this is what what I project for you. And so it was pretty cool to see that.
Well, was there a point in your life where you had to pick baseball? Because you just finished your collegiate baseball career, right? But was there a point in your life where you had to stop playing hockey and just focus on baseball?
Yeah, my freshman year of high school, so I was 14 or 15, that was where it was like, you either pick baseball or you pick hockey. And as a California baseball player, naturally you're going to pick baseball. And so playing hockey on the side is always fun, but it doesn't necessarily have such a great future ahead of it. However, for baseball, there's a great future ahead of it because California's got the best weather in the entire states right now. Like Chicago and all the snow states, you can't play baseball unless you're going into a barn or an indoor facility. But what we were talking about earlier is we can play 4 or 5 months, maybe even 8 months out of the year here without little rain or whatever in between. But it was super cool of like, just blanked. Sorry.
You're good. We were talking about how you chose baseball over hockey around 14, 15 years old.
So my last year playing hockey was my freshman year. That was like my last organized, and then just kind of staying on the ice as much as I can otherwise. But okay, I got it. Picking baseball. It was pretty much my freshman year. That was my last hockey, and so just kind of locking in on baseball. I was like, okay, this is what I have to do every day to go hit. Working on specific things off the tee, working on specific things as far as from the pitchers, learning our eyeballs, because eyeballs are some of the most important tools as a baseball player. And so, oh my goodness, the train's falling off the tracks.
It's all good. We can fast forward to your college career. You ended up playing at Cal State East Bay. How did you get recruited by there and end up making the decision to play?
Yeah, so my junior year was COVID, so that was the 2020 season, and I was working out with a coach, just so happened to be up the street from my house, and he goes, the BRG Scout Ball games, you should go get in line with that and see where that can take you. And it was in Lake Elsinore, and it was put on by some scouts that were formerly in Seattle with the Mariners, and they had the Lake Elsinore Stadium where the Storm play, and so they put on scout ball games. It was guys who were either out of college, kind of similarly now it's like newly out of college looking for affiliate contracts, and there was 2 coaches in my dugout, and one of which I already knew, who was with the Red Sox at the times, with the Cubs now. But there was another coach who knew the guy at East Bay and said, hey, I got a guy for you. And at the time I was catching pretty much only.
Dang, okay.
With a little bit of outfield experience here and there in between. And it's more of like an athletic bound of like, okay, you're an athletic dude. Even if you're not going to go catch every inning, go learn the outfield and see where that takes you. And so thankfully, the other guy, Tony, he's in our dugout, and calls him up, and I talked then with the guy at East Bay. He said, hey, come up for a visit. So I went up there, visited. Everything looked good. It was all good stuff. And then there I was as an 18-year-old in Hayward, learning the ropes and just kind of feeling it out. I was like, okay, how does it all play out here? So I'm super grateful for the 4 years that I was up there and learning everything about there is to know. In Hayward, in Oakland, in San Francisco, like San Jose. I got up to a few Sharks games. Okay. Couple of Oakland A's games before they shut down. We went on the BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit. It was super cool, like just kind of learning, okay, this is where to go. This is where to be careful. This is where you take your buddies. Like the taco spots in Oakland, those are solid. But you don't go alone. You make sure you have your buddies with you. But it was super cool. Like I'm super enjoyed the whole experience up there. Just every summer, aside from my summer after my freshman year, coming back to play in Compton, and it was a super cool experience because it was like, as soon as I'm done from my sophomore year to my senior year, come and play with you guys. But on the other half of like, after my freshman year, I went to Dodge City, Kansas, and that was an experience in itself. Living with the host family for the first time. Oh wow! Living in a furnished basement and just kind of figuring out, okay, I'm in the middle of United States. Like I looked at a map, it was like directly half of California and Florida. There was Kansas, and it was flatter than flat. And it was definitely an experience, like figuring out the wind, or if the wind's blowing at you, you're gonna have to throw this ball into the infield like 100 times harder than you usually do. And so it was super cool to just kind of experience, okay, this is what high school and into college baseball looks like, that transition of guys are going to throw harder, they're going to have more movement, there's going to be more deception, and they're going to find more creative ways to get outs. And so whether it's on the base paths, at the dish, or if it's trick plays that nobody's ever seen before, and it's like, oh my God, where did that come from? But it was super cool. Like I really enjoyed it. Like I have a couple of buddies that I still talk to on a regular basis from the Bay Area, and they're actually in Florida right now,
nice.
Starting off their season. And so, yeah, it was super cool. I really enjoyed it.
In your experience, what was the biggest adjustment going from the high school level to college, and what did you struggle with?
Yeah, more movement, more breaking balls. In counts in high school, you're going to see 2-0, 2-1, like versus 0-2, 0-1, 1-1, 2-2. With 2 strike counts, you're not going to see many pitches in the zone. And so at the college level, more so with the D2 level, there's going to be more breaking balls in the dirt or heaters that are way out of the zone. But as far as like velo for their fastballs, like in high school I faced probably 80 to 85, and then in college it was like 83 to the most at 92, but it was their range was usually 82 to 87 with a sinker that moves this much, a slider that moves this much, and then a changeup that's like this. And so just really keying in on, okay, what are their tendencies? Because in our dugout we always had books. We had what we call tendency charts. And so with those charts of like have all our 1 through 9 guys and seeing, okay, in this count, like 2-0, okay, here comes pretty much an automatic heater. Some guys are like pitchers are very easy to figure out, but it takes like 3 or 4 innings of like, okay, he's going to throw a heater and it's going to be out of this arm slot. Get your foot down and be ready to go. I'm sure you've seen some guys even over the summer. It's like, okay, you're on the mic and you're like, okay, here comes a fastball.
Right.
You can't say that, but it's like I kind of in the back of my mind, okay, here comes a heater, and then he throws a heater, and then he hits it into the gap for a double. It's like, okay, that's kind of how the whole sign sequence figuring things out. But that's definitely the next step from high school to college of like, okay, understanding guys' tendencies and what they do, and utilizing that to our advantage, and seeing, okay, if it's 0-2, he's going to throw a heater way out of the zone. That's pretty much an automatic take. Or whether it's 2-0 or 0-2, here, if there's 0-2, here comes a breaker in the dirt, pretty much like automatic. And so it was like, that was definitely the next step. I've been working with a lot of the high school guys from where I went to high school, and I've been trying to give them little tidbits of like, okay, this is the tendencies, this is the next jump. I'm gonna try and give you a little bit of tidbits now so you can understand, okay, this is how we get the advantage when there's a guy throwing only 2, usually it's like 2 or 3 pitches in high school, and then it's like 3 to 4 at the most in the college level. Very anomaly guys will have 5, but like at the D2 level, it's usually like 3 or 4 at 5 at the most. But just kind of using everything that we learn, because it's like every single at bat is, you can learn from it. And so that was definitely the next jump from one to the next of like, okay, this is how we're gonna win. Just using everything we can.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I saw that your junior year you had your best statistical season. What worked for you that year compared to the other years?
So that's a really good point, because every year was definitely a step in the right direction. My junior year, I believe I got 70 ABs, and so it was one of those times where it's like, okay, there's going to be guys in running scoring position and saying, hey, clear the mind. We're 0 for 0 stepping into the box and just letting the magic happen. That year, I hit 2 grand slams in back-to-back innings at San Bernardino. And funny enough, I was getting recruited by them before I committed to East Bay, and I learned that their field was a boombox. And so literally, it was so funny because there was a 2-1 count. We were down 14-0, and I'm in the box. I get up there. I wasn't starting. I was just kind of coming off it's 14-0, whatever.
Yeah.
I get up there, and I got 2 things in my mind. Just go let it eat, and we're 0 for 0. So I get up there, guys in our dugout saying, hey, see it up, because he's got pretty much throwing 2 pitches. You can see when guys are super confident, they'll just throw 2 pitches. And majority of the time it'll work, sometimes it'll get rocked. But I'm up there, and I get a 2-1 splitter, and I hit it into oblivion. And so I was like getting around first base. I was like, hey, this is the feel of like, hey, this is what I've been training for the last several years. And then I get up with the same situation the following inning, and there's a submariner who's like, I think he's like 6'6", throwing from underneath the table in a 2-strike count. Our big thing with 2 strikes was like, widen out and choke up just a little bit. So I kind of poke it into center, and it goes off the yellow and bounces over. So at that point, there was 8 RBIs, so it's 14-8. The next inning, I almost came up with bases loaded again, but there's like 2 guys in front of me, grounded a double play. I was like, oh. Okay. But yeah, I mean, the Chico State series were all fun because they attacked you like they don't care. Like they're Chico State. Usually they were really good, and so that was kind of my mindset of like, okay, eliminate the off-speed pitches because they're going to go at you with heaters. Like they were usually big ego guys, and their dugouts were always super crazy loud, very similar to Monterey. And so Chico's up, and they're going right at you, and that was when I had a lot of my success. Just kind of letting it eat and just having fun with it. That was probably the years I had a couple more ABs that were successful. So I was like, it was good. My junior year, I really enjoyed it, and just kind of even every AB learning something. And even my senior year, I went up to Chico State, and I think I went like some crazy like 6 for 18 or something like that. We ended up taking 3 out of 4.
Okay.
And they were ranked at the time, so it was like super cool to see. And so, but it's just probably just clear mind, clear thoughts, going in there, just having fun, being loose. That's what I remember from my junior year. So, yeah.
To backtrack on something you said earlier, you mentioned training the eyeballs. What does that mean to you, and what are some things you've done in your career to help with that?
Yeah, so a lot of the guys in the DR, what they'll do is they'll hit beans. Beans are really small. Wow. So if you can hit them with a broomstick, that, says a lot of like, it's like training the focal points. And so now I'm still learning pretty much every day. And so one thing that I saw that was really interesting was there's a red zone and a green zone. And so the windows of where that we're looking, so our eyes don't get tired, because there will be sometimes, have you ever noticed it while you're driving, sometimes your eyes will flicker based off of how much light's coming in? So similarly with the baseball, depending on the backdrop too, whether it's a good batter's eye or a bad batter's eye, or if guys, because everybody's different, everybody's got their unique, where's their glove placement before, and then when they're set, and then when they're actually like closing and showing where the ball's coming out. But training the eyeballs being, okay, this is the timing of it. Everybody's stride, like their stride length, their distance, and how hard they push off, everything is different, everything is specific to them. And just kind of learning the baseball as best as possible. Recently in January, I started wearing glasses because I thought the baseball looked too much like a marshmallow rather than seams with the leather on it. So understanding, okay, now I have to learn how to play with glasses. And sometimes I know in the daytime they look really dark, but if you have them on, they're not really all that dark. But just learning on focal points and really kind of dialing it back, okay, as a baseball player, we're trying to hit the baseball, but we're really trying to hit the seams. Because if you aim small, miss small, aim for seams, miss the seams, hit the baseball, then it really catches. And so that was something that I've kind of just tried to take in. The more that I explain it, the better that I understand it myself. And so training the eyeballs being, okay, how much can my head move and still be successful? Because a lot of the high school guys, they'll move their head so much, and then they're in a good hitting position, and then they miss because their eyeballs are moving this much more because their head goes like this because their balance is a little bit off. But every pitcher's different, so some guys will stay in their back leg a little bit longer. Hitters will stay in our back leg a little bit longer. Sometimes they'll be late, or sometimes they'll be the same position. The barrel gets out a little bit more, then that ball is fair versus foul. Right. But as far as like the eyeballs, really understanding the red zone versus the green, and so not watching while the ball's on his chest. Maybe it's looking as a righty, looking a little bit to the right, or as a lefty looking a bit to the left, and then really focusing back in on where this is coming out. And so that was something that I've kind of like a concept that I've kind of grasped, and I'm trying to learn it every day more and more, just so the eyes don't get tired. And so it's like if the ball's perfect, we don't want our eyes to flicker because then we're going to not be able to see it or we'll miss it. But that's the most I've got right now as far as training the eyeballs and seeing how we can use everything to our advantage.
You have a lot of
all that good stuff.
You have a lot of baseball knowledge. Who are some of those more impactful coaches that you've had over the career that's taught you a lot of these things?
A lot of it has been on videos, to be honest, that I found. A lot of the stuff, as far as looking for seams rather than the baseball. That was my coach, who was with the Red Sox, who's now with the Cubs. I started hitting with him when I was a sophomore, all the way up until pretty much while I was in college. But it's he was super impactful on me. The guy that I was talking about earlier, Joey Molina. He's a lot as far as fundamentals, as far as your prep step, whether we're going in, back, forwards, or to the side. That's definitely been something as far as, hey, here's our jumps, being on our toes, and just kind of understanding ourselves. Because I think a lot of times the athletes can sometimes be the best coaches for themselves because they understand themselves the most.
Right.
And they see themselves in the mirror more than anybody else does. And so it's like, okay, this is what I like. This is what works for me. And if there's not, then at that point, figuring out, okay, what does my college coach say as far as what does he see? Whether it's a hitting guy saying, okay, change the mindset just a little bit more, or raise our hands a little bit. My dad's been a super impact for me. He grew up playing tennis and played tennis all in college. He did the pro tennis tour in Europe before he started doing in the medical sales. However, he's been a super huge impact for me. He sees me more than anyone, and he's like, okay, I see your balance. It's like, he notices like the little minuscule things of like, okay, this is what I see, try this, and then it's successful. I was like, okay, I got to remember, okay, the voice that says, hey, try this, or this, or this, and then it works, and it's like, okay, remember the good things, write everything down. I'm very visual, so I like to say, okay, I got my journal, what did I learn today? What can I use it? How can I use it tomorrow? And how can I use that into my success? And how do I blend it all together and make that final product?
So now that you're done with your collegiate career, we've talked a little bit off air about your journey now, trying out. Can you tell me a little bit more about your process and what's happened after college? Yeah,
so the process after college as a Division II athlete, there's 4 core independent ball organizations, or however you call it, the Pioneer, American Association, the Atlantic, and the Frontier League. So those are the 4, the core 4 is what they call them, and they are the next step to the next journey. To get a shot in the Pioneer would be absolutely amazing. Those are usually like the intro, like for the younger guys of like 24, 25. Or the guys fresh out of college. Just depends on who you know and how many connections you can make and all that type of stuff. Going from the Pioneer, going to the Frontier, the American Association, and then equivalent to AAA is like the Atlantic League. To get my foot in the door would be everything that I'm looking for moving forward, even if it's a backup spot or if it's 100 ABs, doing the absolute best I can in those 100 ABs, and then potentially moving forward, using everything that I've learned and how I can continue to get bigger, faster, stronger, and be more successful moving forward. And you know what I mean? Just kind of going out there, even if it's for tryouts. I was just in Arizona not too long ago, and just to be seen by guys has been super cool, and making connections and kind of talking, hey, who knows how many guys have I played with that they might have coached, or whatever kind of relationships is like, just like that. And just kind of connecting everything and seeing, okay, if one of my guys can kind of pull some strings and see how it all plays out. I'm doing a lot of training over at PFA.
Okay.
I'm doing some more bullpens, catching and that type of stuff, getting behind the dish again, because I don't know, maybe my card will be behind the dish, or if I'm with the squad and they need someone to catch their bullpens because something happened, I would say, hey, I can help you out and do whatever you need. And so the end goal being getting into Major League Baseball, getting an affiliated contract, because as I mentioned earlier, I've got the size for it. I just got to let the cards play where they may. And so that's the biggest goal for me moving forward. I just got to understand, okay, this is where on the ladder I am and how I can slowly climb day by day and then year by year and that type of stuff. So it's looking good moving forward.
I know in any athlete's journey, there's a lot of ups and downs. In baseball, more particular, you talk a lot about mindset, but what helps you keep a positive mindset throughout all the downs you may experience in your career?
So I've done a lot of experimenting as far as how do your facial expressions help you on the baseball field? Because your body language says more about how the situation is going than like your mind or your words might actually say. Just keeping our chest forward, rolling our shoulders back, smiling as much as I can. It's funny you mention that because there's a guy at the zone. He's like, "How are you always so happy?" I'm like, "Hey, bro, I'm 6 feet above ground. I love whatever I'm doing at this very moment." So it's awesome. So it's like just kind of saying, "Hey, I'm out here because I'm having fun." Like playing both hockey and baseball, those were fun. Like that's what I enjoyed the most. And it was like, "Hey, I get to do this because I like this and I love it." And it's like I have a potential future moving forward. And so just kind of understanding, hey, you know, it's not the end of the world if something happens, but however you can use that event moving forward, just kind of putting a smile on our face, because we got the mountains over in Glendale, and it's like, hey, I look from the right pole to the left pole. I try to pick a spot in far field of view. So that's another thing, training our eyeballs, training the far point of view, and then really zeroing on the middle ground and then the ground in front of us. Just smiling at it, just because releasing the tension and stress in our face makes for an easier like breathing moment, and just understanding, okay, like the box breathing has been really, really good for me, as far as, okay, how can I relax? Because relax and loose is faster rather than tight and stress, and that doesn't usually always work out for us. But the looser that we can be is definitely something that you know, has been good moving forward. And it's like, okay, how can I understand? Okay, this is the task at hand. Let me dial in and say, hey, maybe here comes a heater. I'm going to be ready for it. I'm not going to tense up for it. Because the more tense we are, then we're going to roll it over. Or if we're loose, then it's going to go in that backside gap, and it's going to, you know, be successful, and it's going to end up very good for us.
What's excuse me. Sorry about that.
You're good.
All right. I've seen you be more active on social media and posting a lot of different tips, stretches, and just training content as well. What was the inspiration behind being more active?
So the inspiration behind that, it helps me stay accountable for myself, and I'm doing a little bit of lessons on the side as well. Training some guys both at the high school level, whether they're 10, 15, either they're 12, whatever, however old they are, whatever knowledge I can help with them. That's been super impactful, because there's another guy, his name's Kenny Carrillo. He runs the Montebello Pitching Academy Instagram account, and he has a lot of really good content. And so just kind of using that as an inspiration, because I think that I can help guys, whether it's 100 guys or it's 200 guys, whoever it reaches, because it's been really cool of like, okay, this is what works for me, and maybe some guys try it and they like it, great. If not, like, it's really not the end of the world. Like, it's for all the guys who like, whether it's tips on stretching, whether it's hitting, hey, try keeping the hands here, the knob here, or the barrel down, like understanding, okay, our shoulder angle is the same as our barrel angle, and it's like, okay, how can we use this to develop that line drive swing, whether guys are power hitters or line drive hitters, or maybe you got to hit it through the ground every time and you just got to leg it out. But it's something that I've really had fun with, because over that 2023 season, I was doing a lot of editing just with like movies and videos and stuff on CapCut on my computer, and I was like, why don't I just make some of my own and get some mini mics and just see where it kind of takes me? Because me understanding, okay, this is what it looks like, so I can use that, break it down, and make it look like a solid product. Because I think the baseball world, it really depends on who you hear it from. Because there's been, like, say for example, there's 8 different coaches. Maybe that athlete only hears the right words from 2, depending on how it's depicted and how it's all understood. Because maybe there's somebody who has their revelation of like, okay, this is what I learned. Maybe it's on an Instagram video. Right. Because I've learned stuff on there too, and it's like, hey, I'll try this, and then it works. And it's like, okay, I found it on Instagram. So I'd use that as a little tidbit tool of like, okay, this is how it can all pan out. And so just guys I train with too, it's like, even if they need to like pick back up, what does a band routine look like? Because some guys have never used them before, and they're 18 years old in college, or they're 18 years old in high school, and they're like, I've just always gone off of how my arms felt. Then they're going to feel when they're 19, 21, 22, of like, okay, if I don't do bands today, then the ball's not going to jump out of my hand nearly as well. Or for a plyo ball routine of like, okay, understanding the weight difference. There's like 32-ounce balls, there's 16-ounce balls, and there's 7.5. Then there's 5. 5 is roughly about how much a baseball is. And understanding our mechanics, because having clean mechanics is the best. And even when you're watching Major League Baseball, sometimes you can see guys that kind of looks funny, but it works. And so just figuring out what works for guys, just having it as an option for me to kind of say, hey, this is what I have been through. I've played with guys at pretty much every single level. I was thinking about it the other day. It was like all the Power 5 conferences I've either played with or against or something of that nature, whether it's in the CCL or if it was in Kansas. There was a kid, I think his name's Zach York. I think he just recently signed with LSU, and I was like, I was on the mound throwing a splitter to him, and he rolled it over to first base, and I was like, hey, you can learn everything from someone.
Right.
And so it's like, what little tidbits, what works for him, what might work for me, you never know. And so just being an outlet on Instagram, if there's guys that are not so talkative of like, hey, all it takes is a message, like it really doesn't hurt to reach out to anyone. And it's like, you never know, that message could help you figure out your mechanics, whether you're on the mound, your feet work, how your legs are positioned, your upper half, and how guys can go from 6'3", throwing 80 miles an hour, to 6'4", throwing 95. It's like, what works as far as like a med ball routine, a plyo ball routine, really locking in like a long toss and understanding the body of like going from baby giraffe to understanding what a big bear looks like.
Yeah.
Of like, when guys are long and lanky and they haven't exactly grown into themselves.
Right.
Understanding how a guy like Mike Trout can run like a 3-second 90 mile an hour or 90 yard, 90 foot, how he can run out ground balls even when he's 6'3", 235, of like, okay, this is the exact speed dynamics and everything like that. Just kind of understanding, okay, this is what I do, this is what I should incorporate, and how I can be an outlet to some guys.
Yeah, that's one thing I've appreciated, especially the stretching routines. And I'll just share, in high school, I think we all take for granted how indestructible our bodies are and how we can just kind of wake up and do whatever. But as I got older, I played community college football, right? And so I developed a good stretch routine early on, and I feel like that helped extend my playing career to even the point where now I just mainly play pickup basketball, but I can do a lot of like activities that I was doing in my mid-20s, right, and young 20s, and still without, very minimal pain because I am actively stretching all the time. And I have a lot of other friends who are around the similar age, and when we play, they're feeling it for weeks. And it's like, hey, stretching, it helps,
Yeah.
We're not 18 anymore.
Right.
So I do appreciate like when you share that kind of stuff. And
Stretching and rolling, it's super imperative. Like I'll go to the gym and I'll probably have like 45 minutes of stretching that I'll do myself, because the T-spine and the hips, they're in the middle of ourself. And so it's like, however loose that can be will be a direct reflection of how our lift goes. Because I've definitely noticed, like, some days if I shorten the stretching routine, then I wake up with a pinch the next day, and I'm like, I know what I did and what to prevent from it. So how we can stay mobile, because mobility is everything. Moving forward is whether it's pick up basketball, pick up hockey, pick up, you name it, like how we can have fun with it. And so just being an outlet, seeing if sometimes like guys will sit in a squat for 45 seconds or a minute at a time, and it's what type of twister mobility, like how the T-spine can get like unlocked per se, and even whether it's hanging on a pull-up bar or something of that nature of like, hey, this is what works for me, why don't I try it out? So yeah, it's good stuff.
This might be an unanswerable question, but in baseball you always see a left-handed hitter will struggle against a left-handed pitcher, but right-handed hitters don't struggle the same way against right-handed pitching. So you as a lefty, in your experience, what makes it so hard for a left-handed hitter to see a lefty pitcher? So
recently at the Zone, there's a lot of left-handed hitters and left-handed pitcher matchups, and those are designed on purpose. And so it's honestly optics. Mainly there's right-handed guys, and then there's a few lefties per team. But now it's like he throws all the lefties, and sometimes on days we won't even see a right-handed pitcher. But that's all on purpose, as far as like over there's a like concrete gray wall similar to the one we have behind us for the righties, and we have a white baseball. It's like, how on earth are you going to really lock in and figure out, okay, I got to see a ball whether there's not really much of a batter's eye. But for the lefties, there's green trees for pretty much center to right center. And so just really locking in on either this this, like wherever their arms kind of come out, because the lefties tend to be funky and they have this type of movement. So essentially it's running from our barrel into our hands. And so just honestly seeing the ball as early as you can and understanding the tendencies. Okay, if the guy likes his breaking ball, because sometimes their breaking balls will go straight down or they'll slide away from us, and understanding in counts. Okay, if it's 2-0, maybe he's going to throw a slider, because usually it's a fastball count. You can get guys out in front. And so just kind of understanding, okay, I've seen this lefty probably 4 times. Okay, this is what I'm going to look for. And if I don't see it, then you're going to have to adjust to it a little bit. But I think moving forward, like it's a lot of confidence. And so it's like, if I've seen a guy like 4 or 5 times and I understand his tendencies, and seeing, okay, maybe his heater comes here every time, or his curveball is just a little bit off, or if it's seeing the front of his hand for his fastball or the side of his hand for his breaker, just understanding that they're a little funky and they're a little bit different, and sometimes guys are 84, 85, sometimes they're 88 to 90, like just understanding their ranges as well, because that helps with the timing, and just understanding, okay, I get my foot down early, then I can let the bat fly through, getting it out in front, and majority of the time staying up the middle, just kind of seeing how that all kind of plays out. But it's fun to see lefties, because it's like, okay, in college, my coach didn't let me face any lefties. And so I think the old methodology back, the whole psychology of it was lefties, they don't really see each other all that much, because for some reason it's a difficult matchup. But the reason that is because they always have their movement going back into the hands. And so it's, sometimes guys will be really good off a left-handed, like the lefty-lefty matchup. Sometimes they'll be really good. Sometimes they'll pretty much break their bat. And so just kind of figuring out, guys and how their stuff moves and all that good stuff. But I've definitely been learning more and more, just kind of figure out the lefty-lefty matchup. But it's been good.
So we crossed paths the last 2 summers at the academy in Compton. And it's a wooden bat league. I always like to ask the hitters this, but what's the biggest adjustment playing with aluminum during the spring and then going to the summer and batting with the woody?
Typically the handles are a little bit different and the weight distribution is a little bit different. The barrel lengths, like there's little subtle differences going from one to the next. I've always loved hitting with woods. However, I break a lot of wood bats. I broke a lot of BB core bats as well. For what that reason was, I don't know. I always hit a ton too, so I'm like, I've probably taken several 100,000 swings in my life, and I'm like, why do I saw off so many bats? But I also swing a lot, like in counts, and it's like, okay, here comes a changeup that I nub off the end, and it barely splinters off, and it's like, okay, now I got to go find another bat. It's always about finding the next bat, because with BB core, like it's very rare for them to break. A lot of times they break just because of overuse, and sometimes guys will just hit off the machine for hours on end, which we did a lot of, where you learn of like, okay, this is my swing path, and this is what feels the best. Going into wood, the machines don't tend to be the best option, because sometimes there'll be a 95-mile-an-hour heater at your face and you're like trying to just defend yourself, and there goes another bat. So it's like, or you can set it up really good, like to 85, and then just take swing after swing after swing, and that's where the bomb bats come in. Like typically those don't break. However, I somehow managed to break 2 of them. How that happened, I don't know. But just kind of adjusting, like the handles are a little bit different. Like some are thinner, some are thicker. Just depends on the grip. But for wood, like if it's a thick knob, there's not really much you can do about it aside from figuring it out and rubbing some dirt on it and that type of thing. But the biggest adjustment, just figuring out the weight differential. And yeah, because if it's a thinner knob, then it will tend to be more end heavy, or if it's thicker, then it'll be more balanced. So it just depends on the hitter. And the best part about wood too is you can have half sizes. The BB core is very, very rare to find like a 33.5 or 32.5. On the super rare end, a 34.5, but that's a very super anomaly. But usually those bats will go up to about 34 inches. But I like the 33.5 with the flared knob. Like guys, like their specifics with the bats are, everybody has their own their niches. like a no cup with a flared little knob, and depending on the situation too, there's a guy named Jorge Polanco. He just finished up with the Mariners.
Oh yeah.
And I heard a story that he was swinging a different bat based off of who he was facing and what the situation was.
Wow.
Which was really interesting because it's like a thicker knob at the bottom, but a thinner knob at the top makes for more fly balls. So say for example, if there's a guy on third, then you can go into the bat bucket and there's a bunch of wood bats. We have the more of the advantage. Okay, this is what I like. But in BB Core, pretty much have 1 or 2 bats that kind of, you know what I mean, go in that little fashion. But that was another adjustment too, just kind of figuring out, okay, this is what I like. Because some guys, like based off the years, you know, guys are always getting stronger. And sometimes the bat weights, sometimes they change because no 2 trees are the same.
Right.
And so just kind of understanding, okay, if this one's a dense wood, or this one's kind of more hollow, or something of that nature, there's always a little discrepancies, whether it's dry, whether it's cold, hot, or whatever. Just kind of understanding, okay, wood bats usually mean the summertime, and over the summertime, guys are attacking you more often than trying to pitching around you. So what that means is like more heaters and more like aggressive counts, and they're trying to show off their stuff. So it's, as the hitters are, so it makes for a really good matchup. That's one of the reasons I enjoyed it so much, and just kind of understanding, okay, this is what we're playing with here. And if you see a guy 3 or 4 innings, it's like, okay, you understand the tendencies of, okay, I got to go get this out in front, being on time and understanding how much effort it really takes. Because when guys like the stress and everything like that of swinging at 100%, they're going to miss majority of the time. However, if you dial it back to 50%, then that little flare job does it, and then now you're winning. So just kind of understanding, okay, how much wood I really have to get on it. And so just kind of seeing how all the baseball works. And so just kind of having fun with it and being loose and understanding, okay, I've got a little bit thicker of a bat in my hand. Okay, here we go. Now I got to go put some good wood on it. So
it might be hard to pick out one particular memory, but what are some top memories that you have from your summers playing with the Barons?
Playing with the Barons, when we went to SLO was super fun. Santa Barbara was fun. Going over to Great Park was also really cool too. Like I loved every single experience that I ever had walking onto that academy. I enjoyed so much just talking with KT, talking with you in the booth, sometimes talking with TJ, talking with Tank, Lorenzo, talking with Bishop. Like everybody had something different to offer, because KT, for example, he was a left-handed swinging right-handed thrower, and so I related a ton to him. He was an outfielder, and I think he might have played a little bit of infield as well. But at the same time, really kind of dialing in, KT, what do you think in this situation? How much, like, what would you do in this situation? And he's like, oh, here's what I would do. And then try to emulate that and understanding, okay, he's got so many years of knowledge and World Series is under his belts, and just understanding, okay, like, channeling that inner KT, I'd like to say, of like, how would he go about it, and seeing how successful we can be. I forget which year it was, but the SLO Blues came to the academy, and there's a guy who's throwing like underneath the table, and I'm coming up to the plate with 2 outs, and I think it's runners in second and third, or it was bases loaded, and we're down, and it's the late part of the game, and I'm in the dugout, and KT's right next to me, into my ear, and he goes, what are you thinking about? He goes, don't think about any of that. This is what you're going to think about. Here comes a fastball, middle of the way. You're going to swing about 50, 60%. And sure enough, I get up there, wham, ball goes into left center, all those runs score. I think it was my first year as a Baron. So I think it was the first year, year before that you had come over. But anyways, that was a super fun memory of like, okay, this is what you're going to do. And he was like manifesting it. It was really cool. And then he got up there, got it done, and we ended up winning that game, something like that. And it was super cool. Like every interaction that I had was like very major league, you know what I mean, production, and being affiliated with the MLB. Like it was super cool. Like, okay, you know, if we break a bat, then he can help you out on it a little bit. But it was like, it was really cool. Of like, okay, the whole locker room experience and just understanding, okay, I can come to the field 3 or 4 hours beforehand. I think we would play at like 6 or 7 o'clock. I'd get there at 1, like hit, just kind of understanding, okay, this is what my body needs to do before, understanding that pregame routine. Like we would hit for probably like an hour and a half, get the body going, and then kind of hang out, get some lunch, and then BP, understanding, okay, I don't have to swing 100 miles an hour because we're hitting good baseballs. And so, especially at the academy too, it's fun. Like Tommy, for example, he gets up there, he's swinging 75%, putting balls over the batter's eye. Yeah. That was really cool to see. That was some of the most pop that I think I've ever seen on a baseball field. Like I've seen some solid batting practice, but for a guy like that going into college, that was really cool. And understanding, okay, if guys can swing that hard, hey, if they touch it, it's not coming back. So, right. But yeah, I think that was another thing too. Being with the academy, like you run into so many different guys. One of my buddies after my first year there, Kamayu Neighbors, went to go play at Louisville. Right. And him and we would hit like for several hours beforehand, and he goes, just take a deep breath, just go out there and let it work. And that was something that I would always see him even practicing himself when he's getting into the box. It's like the World Series. I think it was like College World Series or something. I see him taking that deep breath and understanding, okay, if the guy's throwing 95 with sink, his swing was really good at those little line drives that was always going in there, cashing in those RBIs and understanding, okay, this is what I got to do to be successful. How can I channel the energy of Kamayu or KT or whoever? Or if it's like primetime, Dylan Lena comes up there and absolutely hits a bomb. And so, like, he was super fun to play with. Just every experience that I had, like, I enjoyed it so much of, like, understanding how much fun baseball can be and how to utilize it from every AB to the next AB, because that's the name of the game. And so it was like, you walk into the clubhouse, oh, here's, Long Beach State, or if he's going to Louisville, or if guys are like every random college, like, or there was like USC that had walked in there. I was like, hey, like, even though they're pitchers, like, you can pick somebody's brain to however, like, extent of like, hey, if you're seeing a guy, he's like 6'3", 6'4", how are you attacking him? Because as a hitter, I can, on the other spectrum of like, if we're going into slow, they had some Pac-12 guys. Like there was Pac-12 all surrounded out in the CCL, and it's like, guys are 90, 91, they're going to go out there and attack. So as a hitter, I'm going to go attack. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was super fun to understand, pick the brain of the pitchers a little bit and see how the hitters, like, or picking the brain of the outfielders of like, hey, if there's a guy on third, how are you setting your feet? Or how are you doing these little different things? And so just kind of understanding how all the baseball players can all help and benefit each other. So that was super fun as far as being with the Barons and, you know what I mean, just soaking it all in, being exactly like a sponge.
Yeah. I haven't worked with any other summer league team, but I think it's very unique to the academy itself, that fact that, KT's the manager, and then Lorenzo and Bishop both have minor league playing experience as well. So you get guys who've done it at very high levels, and even Tank and AJ are very good in their own right as well, too, not to take anything away from them. But it's just having those conversations with them before games or sometimes after games, during games. It's really a wonderful place to be, and I'm glad that I've been a part of it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I've appreciated every single moment. Yeah, talking with all the guys that you just mentioned, and even if it's talking with AJ of like, hey, if you're the pitching coach, some guys will have the mic, and it's like, hey, curveball, breaker away, or change up in the dirt, or heater nowhere near the zone, or just go right at him. Like, depending on that situation of like, hey, Jay, what do you see here? How can you help me, even though you're the pitching coach?
Right.
Because, everybody's eyes are a little bit different. Or if it's Tank saying, hey, try this when you're throwing, or try this with your feet, whatever. As a matter of fact, I was working with him a little bit over the fall before it started raining, and there was things that literally light bulb moment, and balls were coming out of my hand harder than they ever have.
Okay.
And it was like, well, this is really cool. Like, sometimes it takes one voice of like, hey, try this, and then it's like there's that success green flag, wave it in the air, of like, all that good stuff. So just utilizing every voice to your advantage of all the guys that you just named. So it's pretty awesome.
That's beautiful. Well, before we wrap things up, I do like to ask these more fun, quick hitter questions as we wrap things up on the show. If you could talk to anybody, dead or alive, who would you want to talk to?
Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. A couple of hockey guys, Connor McDavid. There's some defensemen with the Canadians who are playing really well. A bunch of the guys on the Canucks right now. Just all the athletes, tennis players. Novak Djokovic, he just beat Yannick Sinner, and I think Sinner was ranked 2 in the world. Carlos Alcaraz, because all the athletes, they have their specific sport, but it's like how successful, how does the mindset, that confidence, how do you go from one to the next? Whether you either lost to number 2 in the world or you beat number 2 in the world, and how to maintain success. And so just like Mike Trout, for example, he came from a super small Millville, New Jersey, and out of high school got drafted by the Angels, and they pretty much went on a limb and took him. Like, I've watched a bunch of videos, and they said, well, he's from New Jersey. Like, what lies in the tank for him? And they're like, this guy rakes. And once he gets over to the Angels and he has good, healthy seasons, like, he is one of the best hitters to ever touch a baseball field. Not to take away from anybody else who like hits mamos like Shohei or anybody like that. But Mike Trout was super cool, like small, small grown story of like, how has he been so successful? Another guy, Josh Allen, coming from Reedley College, getting one offer to Wyoming and then getting drafted by the Bills. Even though he's 6'5", like 250, like, you know what I mean? He's got the size for it. And it's like, how does someone from such a small upbringing like get that success and then that snowball rolling forward? Just for him, just like, what does it take to keep moving forward? And it's like, all it takes is one shot. And so I'm right there with him. Hey, all it takes is one shot. So I'm thinking, it's good stuff. All it takes is one coach, one set of eyeballs and stuff like that to get the ball rolling. But those, several athletes that I just named, like, it was like, those are guys that are like super dreams. Like, if you could go meet someone somewhere in like a giant hall or like dining facility of like, hey, you can go have a conversation with whoever you name, and then they'll be there in that specific moment, just kind of understanding, hey, what works for you and how has it all kind of come about? Because everybody's story is a little bit different, but at the same time, they're going for that end goal of a championship or that Hall of Fame spot. So yeah.
If you could go to any place in the world, where would you want to go to?
That is a really good question. I've gone to a lot of places in the U.S. I've gone both East Coast, West Coast, and Canada. I think go to Europe would be really cool. My dad's parents are from Slovakia. In the westernmost region from Bratislava, their capital. I really want to go over there. That'd be pretty cool just to see where they lived shortly before they left, before they went to Canada. And just kind of getting a tour of Europe, I think would be really cool. On the flip side, going to Japan, playing baseball over there would be really cool. If at any point I got an opportunity to play over there, I'd go jump on it. Playing in Korea would be really cool too. A lot of traveling outside of the U.S. would be super cool for me, I think. I mean, those are the 3 bucket list kind of places as of right now, but to go jump on a train and live out of a backpack in Europe, I think would be pretty cool. That was what my dad did, and so I'm like, I kind of want to follow in his footsteps a little bit.
Nice.
Even if it's for like a week or several weeks, just kind of figuring it out, because that's kind of how we've done it so far, just kind of seeing where the wind takes us. Yeah.
If you can be reincarnated to any animal, what animal would you pick?
I want to be a bear.
A bear? And what type?
Be a grizzly bear.
Grizzly bear?
They got a thick coat, and there's not many things that are going after them. A little bit of like an apex predator, a little bit. Just because who's gonna mess with the grizzly bear? Not too many people that I would know. Just kind of maybe being in the mountains of, whether it's like Yosemite or deep in the woods of Canada. I mean, grizzly bears have it pretty good for them. You know what I mean? Like, once they go fishing, like, they've got these hands 3 times the size of mine. And I'm like, wow, because you know what I mean? You've watched like videos and stuff. Like, they're just grabbing the fish out of the ground or out of the river and the salmon, and then eating them straight up. Like, I don't know. To me, that's pretty cool. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's good stuff.
Okay. And then last question, what's some advice that you would give to your younger self?
Advice I'd give to my younger self. That is a really good spot. Take every day with a smile on your face and live every moment like it's the last, because you never know when the time's going to come. I think going everywhere with a smile on your face, just kind of always being in good spirits, because majority of the time people like when guys are in good spirits, and it brings a good vibe, and it's like just having fun with the day and whatever it may take us, and however we can be 1% better every day, because 1% times 100 days, and then put that times 3, then you're, or 3.5 is like, there's your year. So it's like, how can we get better and build on every year, getting bigger, faster, stronger, and developing more relationships and everything like that. Just kind of having a good time with it and just enjoying everything for what it is.
Okay, well said. Well, if you want to take this time now, I know you have your social medias. If you want to go ahead and plug that, where can people follow your stuff and so on and so forth?
Yeah, it's Showtime, SHWTIIME. That's my Instagram.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you for making the time, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.